Introduction. In this book, we will continue to discover the mysteries of the human mind, its hidden powers, and amazing abilities. The best part here is not that those powers and abilities do exist, but that anyone can have access to them and use them in his or her daily life. The most valuable information is the one that adds more experience to us and allows us not only to look at things and understand reality differently, but one that brings change or complete transformation to our inner and outer world. That's why you will find this book very practical, with techniques and practices that you can instantly try and see for yourself how everything works. I truly believe that, up until now, we have only been using a very small percentage of what we can really do, spiritually and physically, because both sides affect and reflect each other. Modern technology, with all its glory and huge positive impact, intentionally or unintentionally, damaged our spiritual growth. Today it's much harder to restore the missing balance within, as it was hundreds of years ago. Because it became tougher to motivate people to even try, why practice telepathic communication techniques when I can simply pick up my cell phone or laptop and not only talk to anyone, but visually communicate with them instantly? The only thing left that could motivate most of us to do such a thing and keep looking, learning, and practicing is the desire for personal self-power, which is something that no one and nothing can take away from us. That's enough to start the first step, but it should not last long, because there are much more important and more beautiful gains in learning and practicing spiritual mind power techniques. In this book, you will hear about different kinds of mind power techniques. Some of them may sound familiar to you, while others may be entirely unknown or even weird. What I'm trying to do here is to take you away, step by step, from the common mind power practices and invite you to experience and discover unknown territories. At the same time, I am not going to cut the way back entirely. You can still use the techniques that you feel more comfortable with, and simply ignore anything that your mind cannot accept for any reason. You will find techniques that require only one word to be done effectively, and you will also find complicated techniques that need practice and time. In both cases, if you understand the core principles of any one of them and follow the simple steps as explained, you are almost 100% guaranteed to achieve the results that you want, regardless of your personal preferences or convictions. The last step is up to you. The law of action and reaction is a universal law that we all have to respect. If you take action, a reaction must happen. However, if you do not, nothing will change. You can blame anything or anyone you wish to feel better for a while, but unfortunately, eventually, you will have to face your demons and take a step forward. And just in case you're asking, the answer is now. Now is the best time to take that step. The key. What is consciousness? Consciousness simply means being aware of self and or the surrounding environment. Consciousness is not one level or a single state of awareness. There are different levels of consciousness, as there are many levels and states of mind. The key to mind power abilities is to learn how to alter your state of consciousness at will to achieve a specific result. For example, when you completely relax your mind and body to do visualization techniques, you are altering and changing your state of mind, or altering your consciousness to get access to or contact or communicate with the subconscious mind. Altering your state of mind at will is the key to all mind power abilities, and the one thing that you need to master to get any mind power technique to work. The state of mind that occurs when this mental transformation happens is known by many different names. Let's just call it the state of no mind, because at this state, or this middle step between the full and complete conscious level and the subconscious state that's required to create all mind power effects. Altering or changing states of mind or levels of consciousness can be achieved by two ways. First, by using internal action. That simply means to use the mind itself to create the required change. For example, by changing the subject of attention or raising emotions. Another way is by using external methods, like using medicine, or extreme physical activities. In this book, we will explain the most effective techniques to achieve altered states of consciousness by using the mind itself without any external efforts. Using the mind itself provides you with short and long-term control. It allows you to enter the required state of consciousness at will without being limited to specific and practical external methods that would not be useful, for example, in urgent situations that need instant action. However, using the mind itself is the most difficult for many people. That's because sometimes you will be using the mind against itself, and for that to be achieved, you must completely understand how the trick works, and how to mentally sense and understand that it did not work properly. It also requires temporary isolation of the inner world of thought and imagination from the outer world of physical reality until the results are achieved. In other words, it requires turning your complete attention inwards. Sometimes that's hard to do, especially when you're strongly attached, mentally and emotionally, to what you want. What will you need to achieve success with the techniques that you will learn in this book? 3 simple steps. 1. An open mind and complete understanding. 2. Practice, practice, and practice. And 3. Trial and error. All techniques are extremely practical and powerful, but because they work with your inner world, you must understand how each one works very well. Try it for as long as it takes until you master it. And most importantly, you need to realize that once you try it, you should record your experience with it, think, and learn from your success as well as your mistakes. Do this until you believe that you have mastered the technique and can use it without even thinking about it. If you've read any of my books, you will understand that I prefer being as practical as possible, with no fluff and no fillers. I know that there are tons of resources out there, with enough information to keep you busy for several lifetimes. Only a few are providing practical, practicable techniques that anyone can easily understand and enjoy transforming information into personal real-life experience. So without further ado, let's get started. Mind shifters. This technique is truly easy and extremely effective. Actually, it's one of my favorites. That's why I'm going to start with it and hope that you will experience great results from it. First of all, this technique works for anything and everything, but you will get faster and more impressive effects if you use it for a simple but urgent or emergency matter. In other words, use it when you need fast, almost instant effects to solve short-term problems, not for long-term goals. For example, I recently used it to get away from a huge traffic jam in the city, and it worked like magic. Instant result, and exactly as I wanted. That's simply how it works, all the time. All you need to do is to imagine exactly what you want your subconscious mind to create. Be creative and use your imagination. Once that's done, you should pick a word that represents what you want. For example, when I used it for the traffic jam, I used the word push because I imagined that my subconscious mind is pushing all the cars away and the road was getting empty. The last step is to repeat that word until the desired effect is manifested. You do not have to say it out loud. You can repeat it in your mind if that's more comfortable for you. The most important thing is to keep repeating that word. For another example, let's say that it's cloudy and raining outside, and you want the weather to get better. Imagine that you can see the view of your area from above, and imagine that rain has stopped, and all the clouds are starting to disappear or move to a different area. After that, you can repeat a word like clear. When you repeat the word, try to say it in an order form or voice. It's not a request or a belief. It's an order. This specific detail is the core principle behind the technique. So it's critical that you understand it and do it exactly as I am suggesting. The reason that it works is simply because any thought or idea or image in your mind, if and when you attach your will to it, will eventually happen. Your imagination is like a computer screen. All ideas, thoughts, and images are like all applications that you have installed on your computer. When you recall this specific idea or thought or image, you are running this application or program. How you think and feel about that image or idea is the order or click that you give to your mind's processor or the subconscious mind. Your order or will does not have to be verbal. You do not have to express it in any form. Your imagination already does that. Words are not necessary at all. We use words to make it easier for us to understand each step in the process, but not to start it or add any effectiveness to it. It sure helps, especially when your mind is distracted by too many thoughts or different emotions. If you're not good at visualization, you can skip that part, but you have to form a very specific idea about exactly what you want your subconscious mind to do. Afterwards, go on with the rest of the steps and create or pick a word, and after that, repeat it. For people with creative imagination and some experience with visualization, you can use symbols in your visualization. Let's say that you have a headache and you want the pain to stop. You can visualize that this headache or that pain is like a dark cloud or smoke hovering around your head. Then imagine that light comes from within you, a light that represents peace, joy, and health. Afterwards, visualize that light getting stronger and the pain, headache, dark cloud getting weak and start to disappear. Then repeat a word like gone. Try not to use negative words and focus on positive words only, words that represent what you want positively. Do not say words like pain stopped or headache gone, because there is negativity within those words that will keep reminding you of what you do not want. Therefore, it will create a resistance that you can easily avoid. It is also equally important if you do not focus your attention on reality, the situation you are trying to change, or the problem that you want to solve. This would kill the effect. Totally ignore everything and only focus all your attention on what you imagined and what you are saying. Both should be linked in a way that can keep your mind wandering and swinging between them. Whenever you feel that your mind is trying to resist or starting any kind of argument, you are simply describing what you see in your mind's eye. That's how you should think about it. When you believe that your repetition is not effective, no results yet, then remember the imagined scene or the idea or thought that you first used. Imagine the effect taking place and happening, and afterwards, hold it in your mind while repeating your power word. Keep that for a few seconds, then start repeating the word again. Do not compare the image in your mind and reality for any reason. It's natural that you may be in the middle of the situation and you have to pay attention to it. But just become a watcher. Forget that you have to, or that you are performing mind power techniques to change it. Whenever you feel that the required change is slower than you want, focus your attention on your imagination, then repeat the power word. This mind shift process is a great example of altered states of consciousness at will. This is as easy and as simple as it sounds. There is no need to make it more complicated just to fill out the pages of a book. One last thing. Just do it. Try it out now. It works regardless of your beliefs. You do not have to believe anything at all. Follow the steps as outlined in this chapter, and the results will happen. When? That depends on what your goal is. Most of the time, you will see instant results. Cipher Codes. Your subconscious mind connects objects to meanings and then sends the whole coded package to the memory. Once the object is consciously remembered for any reason, the relevant code of the object and meaning will also be recalled. In other words, the subconscious mind doesn't care about the object itself. It only cares about what it means to you, based on your past beliefs, experiences, thoughts, etc. Question: where can I find this language so I can understand it better? The answer: dreams. A dream is a message from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind, using nothing but symbols and codes, most of them collected during your conscious mental activity. What we're going to do is reverse this process and use the same symbolic language of dreams to send messages back to the subconscious mind. Before we do that, we should understand why this is much more powerful than sending direct messages such as affirmations or visualizing what we want. The reason for that is that we must get the conscious mind out of the way first, before we try to communicate with the subconscious. Using any kind of direct desires consciously would generate mixed thoughts and feelings unconsciously from your mind. Examples of this include feelings of lust, or a fear of failure of a specific result. Those negative thoughts and emotions, unconsciously, could not only destroy the desired effect, they can actually reverse it and generate the exact opposite of what you want. Why do you think it is usually recommended that you relax your mind and body completely before you perform any kind of affirmations or visualizations? Because it is only in this relaxed, sleepy state that the conscious mind can't be hyperactive enough to interfere with the message that you want to send to your subconscious. Creative visualization is going to be used with this method, so you need to know at least some basics about it. Visualization is simply the process of using your imagination to visualize specific scenes or events. With the usual visualization technique, you must relax your mind and body and enter a sleepy state of mind without actually falling into sleep. In this case, you shouldn't be bothering yourself about that. But of course, if you can, then it would be even better. The next step is to imagine what you want exactly the way you want it, as if it's happening to you now. The more senses you use, and the more powerful your senses are, the better the results you will get. Don't make it too complicated. What you want is already there. You know it before you even start the visualization process. The goal of visualization is to actually allow you to realize that there is nothing missing, and the message is delivered as it should to the subconscious or the higher self. Another thing to remember is that we're not going to use the common visualization process, but only the basic process of using imagination. And when you get used to it, you'll be able to use it even when your eyes are wide open. But for now, let's focus on what we already know. So now that you know you're going to visualize it, you might want to know how to do this exactly. How do you know what you should visualize? First of all, you need to have access to a dreams dictionary. On your screen now are several online resources for free, and you can get many more easily from any search engine. Feel free to pause your screen and write them down, take a screenshot, or take a picture if you need to. You can also use other resources such as books that you may have. The most important thing is that you confirm for yourself that the information in the resource you're using is accurate, based on your own experience or those you trust. You should also understand that some symbols could mean different things in different cultures. For example, in some Western cultures, the owl is a symbol of wisdom or good luck. In other cultures, like in the Middle Eastern societies, it is a symbol of bad luck and sometimes evil. So the trick here is that you become fully aware of the meaning of each symbol that you're going to use, as it pertains to you. Do some basic research and focus on it for a while, and try to feel or remember what it means to you. If you're going to use the wrong symbol, it doesn't matter what you think or believe, you will get the wrong results. Try to use general symbols when you're just starting, and if you don't know or aren't sure about any symbol, just don't use it. You will find tons of other symbols for the same desired meaning. The next step is to create a dream. That's right, you will create a dream. How do you do that? It's very easy and should only take a few minutes at the most. Find a place where you won't be disturbed and use your imagination. To start, let's say that your goal is happiness, peace, and prosperity. Simply imagine yourself in daylight, not at night, swimming in a beautiful ocean where you can clearly see a beautiful beach and wonderful blue sky above you. Try to feel and sense the water, smell the air, hear the birds. In other words, try to use as many senses as possible. Keep that image in your mind for a few minutes, then suddenly open your eyes and go on with your normal daily life, just like you usually do when you wake up from a dream. Let's say, for example, that you have a problem with expressing yourself or your emotions. All you need to do is imagine or visualize that you're sailing on a boat. And this is because to dream that you are in a boat or to see a boat signifies your ability to cope with and express your emotions. Another symbol that could be used for that same goal is a wetsuit. When you visualize yourself wearing a wetsuit, it means that you are slowly and safely exploring your inner feelings and emotions. You are at a point where you are comfortable in acknowledging your vulnerabilities and feelings. Once you get more experienced in this, you can use more than one symbol at the same time. For example, visualizing yourself wearing a wetsuit and sailing in a boat. You may be laughing at this image now, but isn't that how most of our dreams look? Let's say that you want others to know and understand your true power, or that you hold authority. Let's see what weightlifting means. In dreams, it means that you are representing your strength and power. Do not underestimate what one person can do. Alternatively, the dream of lifting weights is a metaphor that you are flexing your muscle. You want others to know that you are in command. When you visualize yourself doing weightlifting, you are relaying that exact message to your subconscious, and that's what your subconscious will reflect in your life. Remember, the subconscious mind experiences things from the material reality in a totally different way. Let's take a car, for instance. To dream that you are driving a car denotes your ambition, your drive, and your ability to navigate from one stage of your life to another. Now guess what you should visualize when you want to tell your subconscious that you're in control, and you have the ability to navigate from one stage of your life to another. Exactly. Simply visualize yourself driving a car. Just be careful with how the road and everything else looks. Repeat this visualized image and dream as much as you like. For example, once a day until you see the results. And now you know that you can instantly use this amazing language and hidden code to directly and easily talk to your subconscious mind, the same way it talks to you. I could go on and on with hundreds of examples, but I'm sure that you understand the idea by now. What's the difference between dreams and visions? A dream is a symbolic message. That means that you actually see in the dream, the object and events, is not the real message. The meaning behind the symbols is the real message. And as far as we know now, we can use the same code to generate our own secret messages to the subconscious mind. On the other hand, a vision is a similar message, but without the symbolic part. What you see and experience as a vision is exactly what it means. How do you create a vision? This is the normal visualization process. Relax your mind and body, and then imagine what you want to happen as if it's already happening now. However, in this case, the vision should be relatively short. For best results, it should only last for a few seconds. The trick here is to focus on your senses and emotions, not on the event or the experience itself. Unlike the dreaming method, you should try to remember this vision from time to time without thinking about it or trying to force yourself to believe it. When is the best time to remember your visions, and how to remember them exactly? The answer is any time. You can remember it anytime, anywhere. The most important thing is to not focus on it for too long. Just bring it to your attention for a second, and then let it go. If you allow it to stay for too long, your mind will start to think about it. Usually your mind will bring it to your attention, and all kinds of negative thoughts about this vision will come along as well. Don't blame it. That's simply how it works. Your conscious mind's job is to let you know everything, especially the opposites. For example, if you're focusing on a positive thought, it will keep throwing negative thoughts at you just to remind you of it, so you can keep it in mind when you make any decisions. The problem is, it can't stop. It will do that when you actually don't want it to. Even when you'll try to force it to stop, it will fight back, and instead of focusing on what you're trying to visualize, you will get distracted and waste your energy trying to keep your mind out of the way. And that would instantly kill any effect, and could even produce the opposite result, because your subconscious mind is watching and listening. So to avoid all that, simply don't allow it to happen. Remember your vision for a second, then let it go. Repeat that a few times throughout the day, and you're done. Now for an alternative technique. This one is even easier and also very effective. In this case, we're going to take advantage of how the subconscious mind works, and we're going to use this knowledge to send direct orders to the subconscious that it cannot resist. How does it work? As we explained earlier, the subconscious mind recalls the connections between objects and what they mean to you, then reacts to them according to the stored information. What we're going to do is recreate this connection and provide the subconscious with a secret code, and once we use this code consciously, the subconscious mind will do whatever we program it to do. Let's say that you want a new house. Visualize the ideal house. Imagine it, feel it, use as many senses as you can while you visualize it. Then affirm what this house means to you, and what the subconscious mind should do about it. For example, this beautiful house is my dream home. It's exactly what I want. Next, give this dream home a code name. Let's say, for example, XV301, or any other code that you prefer. The only condition is that this code name should be easy to remember and meaningless. For example, it shouldn't be something like, my dream house. Avoid using any meaningful words or phrases. Next, visualize yourself saying that code name. And once you've said it, visualize the subconscious mind bringing this dream house to you. Imagine several situations that would allow you to have it. Like, for example, finding it for sale in a newspaper, a friend telling you that you can have it, extra money from work that would allow you to buy it, etc. Imagine the ideal situation for you, whatever it may be. This affirms clearly that the subconscious mind knows how to bring that dream house to you, and it will do it in divine order. All that you need to do now is to repeat this code name consciously whenever you can. You can say it loudly, repeat it in your mind, use it as a subliminal message, or simply keep it visible to you as much as possible. This code will work as a reminder for your subconscious mind. Once you say it, the subconscious mind will remember the whole process and work on creating the desired effect, without any need to actually repeat the same steps again. However, for the best results, you should repeat the actual process and go through the main steps from time to time. For example, once a week or once per month. Free will power. Focused attention is the key to success with this technique. It's very simple, but it could be very tricky. That's why we will explain it in detail here. If you are familiar with yoga or meditation systems, then you already know most likely the critical factor of living in the now or present consciousness, and how it's the point that connects and unites past and future, and that you should prevent your life from being a reaction to a past memory or imagined future, because both do not exist. All that exists is now. If you are not familiar with all of that, then I suggest that you start and practice simple meditation for a few minutes a day. Meditation simply means to stop all thinking and focus your attention on one specific point or idea or thought. It's like forgetting everything in the room and focusing all your attention on one single dot on the wall without any additional effort. You simply throw all attention on it. Just look at it. Touch it with your mind. Feel it with your eyes. Even when your eyes are closed, you keep looking at it and feel its existence. You do this until you become one with it, without trying, without effort, without doing anything, except being there with it. You can also practice meditation by relaxing your mind and body, then start watching all thoughts and ideas that your conscious mind will come up with. With this practice, you will start to realize that you are not your mind, and become completely aware of the thoughts and ideas which your mind is automatically generating, and the thoughts and ideas you are creating. It's a similar experience to lucid dreams, where you are dreaming, and become aware that you are dreaming, and then try to control your dream instead of letting the dream control you. Another thing you can try is to focus on an object, any meaningless object, while ignoring all distracting thoughts and ideas. Focus on it, the same way you would if you were trying to paint it. Try that for a few minutes at a time. The point from all these practices is to train yourself to understand what is going on within your own mind. Keep your attention on what you really want, and avoid or ignore anything else. Keep in mind that you should only focus your attention on exactly what you want to happen, not your desired belief. For example, let's say that you want a new job. Then what you should focus on mentally is new job, without wanting, needing, or any kind of forced emotions. At the same time, you should also avoid turning that idea into a belief by focusing on thoughts like, I have a new job. You must direct attention on the idea in its simplest form. No positives and no negatives. I want or I need a new job is a negative form that actually means I do not have that job, while I have a new job is the positive form. Keep your main desired thought in a simple form that does not reflect any positive or negative sides. That's it. It's as easy as that. Any idea or thought contains two opposite possibilities, positive and negative. Unless both are accepted mentally, you cannot consciously generate or release your willpower. The fact that anything is possible means that both positive and negative scenarios of any idea are equally true. consciously adopting a single possibility as a belief would instantly raise the opposite as a subconscious resistance. That is enough to destroy the desired effect. Alternatively, you should keep both possibilities in your mind as equally true, thus neutralizing them. This will neutralize them, but the mental struggle will not stop. Your mind will still seek an answer. It will keep wondering and swinging between the two opposites. And that's exactly what we want. When you feel that mental struggle starting, keep it going for a while until you feel that your emotions are starting to raise. Then you must end it with the conclusion that anything is possible. This conclusion will release the energy that was previously generated from the mental struggle. When energy is released, it will be targeted towards the most stable thought or idea in your mind, which is your targeted desire in its simple form. Let's say, for example, that you want to receive a new car. The first step is to focus on the idea of a new car. Instantly, a desire will be created, and your mind will think about the two opposite possibilities. It's possible that you receive the car, and it's also possible that you don't. Eliminating belief means to not focus on the positive side, that you would naturally and logically prefer, but instead, keep and accept both possibilities. You may get it, and you may not. The next step is to think about those possibilities until you feel the rise of emotions. Sometimes, a rise in body temperature might also be noticed. Now it's time to end this mental fight between the two opposite thoughts by suggesting that anything is possible. This thought will come as a relief and comfort, plus a feeling of complete freedom as well. When I say a feeling of complete freedom, that means a free energy is released, and this energy will be directed by the core thought that you had in mind, or the simple desired idea. Let's visualize this process using the images on the screen. Image 1. The dot in the middle of the circle represents your targeted desire or thought, with both opposite possibilities contained within it, but they are not visible to your mind yet. The second step occurs when two opposing ideas emerge and start to struggle, creating mental movement and rising energy. This is represented here in Circle 2 with the yin and yang symbol. The last step in the process, Circle 3, is when free energy, willpower, is released. In the first step, only your conscious mind is active. Your thought is just an idea in your conscious mind. In the next step, your mental struggle created a subconscious awareness of the idea, while the conscious mind is neutralized and not affecting the process. By the last step, your thought or desire is released to the superconscious mind, and that's when it's instantly created. What's the difference between that and simply jumping from step 1 to step 3 by focusing on your desired thought while also thinking that anything and everything is possible? The difference is that in this case, it's only a wish. It's an idea like any other idea in your conscious mind. When you release it at this point, you are releasing it within, and nothing will happen. That's why it must be charged with willpower or chi energy, and that only happens when you accept its opposite possibilities, allowing your mind to swing between them until enough energy is created, and then at the end, releasing this energy with complete freedom. Subliminal Perception. We are going to pass hidden messages or orders to the subconscious mind within an unrelated context. These messages could be visual or audio messages as well. This method is not new at all. In fact, it's been used heavily by advertisement designers and can be found in almost all ads around you, especially in visual ads like banners and commercials. The key to success with this technique is to mask the message in a way that always keeps it hidden from the conscious mind. That's the whole trick behind this method. With some creativity and imagination, you can create hundreds of ways to deliver any message to your subconscious without activating conscious awareness. Here are the easiest and most effective techniques that you can instantly copy. 1. Add the message that you want in a text format to the wallpaper that you're currently using on your computer. You can use any photo editor for that. The important thing is to be able to change the visibility of the text to a lower level that makes the text invisible to your eyes. However, don't use the same color of the background image. While the conscious mind wouldn't be able to see the text in the message, the subconscious mind will easily see it, and that's all we want. You can use the same technique with audio files, if you have the skills and equipment to add very faint voice to the original tape. This could be added to music tapes, educational tapes, or audiobook files. The most important thing in this case is to make sure that consciously you can't recognize or hear the hidden message. If you can, then do it again with a lower voice level. Obviously, the level shouldn't be completely mute. However, at the same time, it needs to be unrecognizable by the conscious mind. 2. Use sigils. Sigils are encrypted messages created to hide the original intent or the meaning of the message by transforming the words into individual letters or images. What you need to do is write the message. For example, God is attracting the best lover for me right now. Then copy the first letter of each word, then delete all the other letters. So the statement would be something like, God will from. The next step is to draw an image by using these letters. Here is an example. Consciously, it's totally unrecognizable and meaningless, right? That means it will work. The next step is to charge the sigil with emotions and energy by looking at it while visualizing the desired result. After that, keep the sigil with you and take a look at it from time to time. However, don't try to remember why you created it. It would help if you made 3 or 4 sigils for different goals and create them all at the same time. This way, it will be harder for you to remember the true purpose or reason of creating each one. 3. Another similar technique is to use a mantra. Mantras are very similar to sigils, but the final letters will be used to form a meaningless word or words that could be used as a chant. From the previous example, we can use the letters GIATBLFMRN to form something like GIA, TIB, GIA, LIM, GIA, FIRN. Now all that you need to do is to say this chant or mantra while visualizing the desired result. Gia Tib, Gia Lim, Gia Fern. After that, you can chant it anytime, anywhere, without visualizing anything. And again, don't try to remind yourself with the reason you created this mantra. 4. Implement the message while your conscious mind is hyperactive. This method is extremely effective, but it's harder to do because it requires a specific state of mind. What you need to do is raise your conscious activity to the highest level possible. Examples of things that will allow you to experience that are dancing with loud emotional music, orgasm, fear, anger, laughter. At these moments, you can implement or pass any message, a sigil or mantra for example, as fast as possible, without allowing the mind to stop and think about it. It requires some practice and sleight of mind, but it's extremely powerful. 5. This technique is the best, and it's very easy to do. First, you need to prepare the message. To do this, break it down into separated letters like before. Next, use a copy of a book that you read often. Smaller books work best. Next, add each letter from the message of desire to last words in the last sentences of the paragraphs of your book. Try to add the letters by using a similar color. And use a pen or pencil. It doesn't matter, as long as the color and writing is similar to the text of the original. Your conscious mind will pass those additional letters and only read the original word, but the subconscious mind will receive those additional letters and understand the meaning of the implemented words and sentences. You can use the same technique, but this time, write the letters, best if it's 1 or 2 short words, on your computer's keyboard. Write smaller letters next to the original letters of the keyboard. Try to make them as small as possible and not easily seen. All those methods and techniques would work great with most people, so I highly recommend that you start with them first before trying this technique. The technique itself can be done in many different ways. I will explain here different methods to do it. For the first, you need to relax your mind and body and visualize or imagine yourself writing the desired message on a piece of paper. Visualize the complete scene with as many distracting details as possible. For example, visualize yourself writing that message while watching a movie that you like, or while talking to a friend about an important subject, or writing with one hand and doing something else with the other hand. The second method is to visualize a complete dream, with all events, details, and characters. Pick the most interesting theme for your dream. If you like sports, then visualize yourself playing your favorite game. Next, add the desired message, better if it's a simple word or sentence, in a hidden place within that dream. a place that's not easily noticed. For example, if you're seeing yourself playing a football match, imagine that this message is written on a piece of paper and you put it in your pocket before the game starts. Another example, if you'll visualize that you're dancing in a nightclub and having fun with friends, you might visualize the message or the word written on a poster or as a picture on one of the walls next to where you are, or in the background. The third method is to visualize that you're receiving that message by someone else in the dream. For example, imagine that you're getting back home after work and someone left that message to you on the phone and you listen to it while checking your voicemail. Another way to do it is by visualizing a conversation between you and someone that you trust and believe, like a close friend, a member of your family, or a teacher, or other loved one. Visualize that you and this person are having a conversation about the same subject, and within this conversation, the person delivered this message to you. It would be even better if that person tried to convince you that it's true. The key is to be completely focused, listening, but not emotionally involved. Simply listen to them while the message is delivered. You can then move on with the conversation to a different topic without thinking. The last method requires advanced visualization skills and focus, but if you're used to visualization, you will be able to do it easily. Before sleeping, allow your mind and body to be relaxed. Then visualize the message written clearly. Visualize it being written, then visualize it disappearing or being erased. Then visualize it being written again. Repeat the same process several times until you feel your mind getting exhausted. Then go to sleep normally. Do that for several days or until you start to see the result that you wanted. While the concept of this method is based on the connection between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, we should not forget about the source of all consciousness and all power. The subconscious mind in itself is nothing more than a personal link or messenger between you, your conscious mind, and the superconscious mind. The superconscious, or the supreme intelligence, or God, or the universal consciousness, is the real source of all spiritual powers and energy, as well as all visible physical matter. Why is it important to understand the connection between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious levels of your mind? Well, simply put, when that is done, your own awareness and perception will be expanded and will reach unlimited levels that you didn't even imagine. When we start any act, the first thing that comes to our mind is our limits and our probabilities. What's the maximum that we can achieve from this? Is this even possible? Is it logical? And many other questions. The answers to these questions will later form our beliefs regarding this action. The belief will eventually lead to the image that we conceive in our imagination regarding the outcome or result. We analyze the given information, form a basic conclusion or belief, then based on that belief, we create an image that reflects what we believe regarding the expected result from our actions. For example, if we are standing on the roof of a 10-story building, and I tell you to jump and fly to the roof of the next building, you're simply not going to listen to me. You're going to disregard my suggestion by either laughing at it, taking it as a bad joke, or running away from the situation altogether. The reason for that is because once I finished my suggestion, your mind checked the stored information and used logic to conclude that what I'm telling you is physically impossible. This belief created an image of you falling from the building, and this image would generate one of two emotions, laughter or fear. The whole mental process started with checking the possibility first, and from that point, your mind moved on to the next steps until the final logical and emotional conclusion was created and believed. What if I explained to you logically and scientifically that you can actually fly? In this case, your mind will start to reevaluate the information and check the possibility of that if it is true or false. Your mind always starts with a possibility. If something is proven to be possible to your mind, it will be automatically accepted until it's proven wrong for any reason or not. Why is this important to understand while performing any mind power technique? Well, if you consciously or unconsciously believe that the concept or the technique is impossible, it's not going to work. And that's exactly why being aware of the existence of the superconscious mind is extremely important. Because for you, your superconscious mind means that anything is possible. The superconscious mind is infinite in nature. It is limitless, timeless, and for it, the term impossible simply doesn't exist and cannot exist. This understanding should allow you to remove any limitations from your mind, especially from your imagination. Imagination is where your creativity is, and if it's limited for any reason, that means your creativity is suspended. Every conceivable outcome exists in the superconscious mind, and because all three levels of consciousness are connected, this limitless creativity also exists within you and can be accessed by both the conscious and subconscious, as well as the superconscious mind. That's why when you're about to start practicing any technique, it's very important that you have a totally free mind. Do not limit yourself for any reason. Whatever you want to achieve, it can be done. It's that simple. Free your mind and use your imagination. Your free will can't be free if your mind is adding all kinds of mental blocks in its way. Remove all mental blocks and enjoy absolute mental and spiritual freedom. When you do, you will start to see and experience all kinds of real miracles in your life. Thought forms. This is a very interesting subject, and there are no limits to what you can do with it. All that you need is your creativity and your will. Thought forms simply mean objects that we create or visualize in our imagination and give them specific tasks or orders to do. Some common tasks include protection, healing, good luck, and wealth. But basically, they can be given any kind of order for anything that you want or need. So how does it work? Let's use protection as an example. It starts like any other visualization technique, by visualizing something like a sphere of light or a bubble of energy around your body, or your home, or your loved ones. At the same time, imagining that this sphere is protecting you from all kinds of harmful activities, mental or physical. It's important that you visualize the effect taking place and happening, and it's equally important that you keep repeating this process or visualization as frequently as possible. It's not as easy as it sounds, because every detail that you imagine will have a physical reaction or effect in reality. So you must be careful and take all the time you need to design the imagined scene perfectly and exactly as you want. The more you repeat this process, the more powerful it will become. Again, please be careful with the details. For example, if you're visualizing a protective sphere, don't visualize the energy that forms the sphere coming from your own body. In this case, you'll have protection, but you may also suffer from unexplained weakness. You must also be aware of the power of symbols and their effect on your mind, because sometimes your mind may understand something completely different than what you actually wanted. For example, pay attention to colors and what they mean or represent. If you don't know and don't have time to research, then simply use clean, clear white colors for positive effects and dark black colors for negative effects. Thought forms work best with changing the course of events for long-term plans. It also works great and fast for psychic protection, like protecting yourself or others from negative energy. It also performs amazing results with healing. I don't like to talk much about healing techniques because, believe it or not, some people may rely on it completely and ignore the need or necessity of consulting a doctor. Thought forms can be objects, like a sphere of light energy, and they can also be visualized beings with specific orders or tasks to do for you. I'm not going to talk about those kind of thought forms here, though, because I want this to be accessible for all skill levels, and if you're not experienced, they can do more harm than good. Besides, it's way too complicated, even for experienced people. If you asked me, I would recommend that you only use the type of thought forms that I already explained in this chapter. They are more than enough for all your needs. Faith. Mind-power techniques work when you totally forget what you're doing is a mind-power technique. When you have complete faith in what you know, trust yourself and the laws of the universe, you can start to enjoy the ride instead of focusing on the destination. That doesn't mean losing control. That's not even possible even if you try to do so. You are always in control, consciously or subconsciously. What I mean is that once you decide to start, don't try to remind yourself why you're doing it, or asking yourself if you've done this step or that step correctly or not. Life is like dancing tango. Yes, you need to learn and understand your steps in life, but once you've started, simply do it with passion and enjoy every move. Even when you fall, understand that this is also part of the big picture or the dance itself. Then get up and start moving again with the same love and happiness. Don't let what you know become a curse instead of a blessing due to worry, fear, and too much thinking about all the details until you destroy any possibility of joy or progress before blaming everything and everyone. Knowledge is power, but it is not so until you allow it to become a life-changing experience. And that's what this is all about. It's about creating change that starts from within and reflects itself on the outer world. However, even if you reached power that allows you to move heaven and earth, it would be meaningless if this power didn't open your eyes to realize and witness your true self. Spiritual knowledge and mind power techniques are there for you to use them to manifest any sincere goal, desire, or wish. While doing so, please remember, from time to time, to take a look in the mirror of your soul, and while closing your eyes, try to identify yourself, your true identity that's hiding behind that mask that we call the face, and that beautiful form we call the body. Then take another look at the world around you, and try to do the same thing. Try to see the source of power and life. Feel the existing and living connection within you and around you. And always remember, whatever you want to achieve, the journey towards that goal starts with one step and one step only. Once the journey has started, nothing should stop you from reaching your goals and attracting your dreams and desires. It's your life, your mind, and your power. Enjoy it. Thank you for listening to this audiobook of The Little Black Book of Mind Power, Secrets of Instant Manifestation, written by Michael Salim and edited and narrated for you by Alio Voices.